Every day I see the same thing. Every day I come across the same thing. And every day I come to the same realization that the only thing that's improving or moving is myself. The only growth that you have in this life is understanding, and you are only learning yourself. See, this human prison bar system, that's really a distraction. That's all it is. Life itself is just a distraction from everything around you. That's all life is. I mean, life itself is just a distraction from what you should be elevating towards, which is the truth, which is the right understanding to heaven. Everything we do every day is the same thing. That's where the illusion of difference comes into operation. So for now on, don't say the same old, same old. When you think about that, remember what I told you. Apply it to what left side of the brain said. It's not the same old, same old. It's the illusion of difference in operation. That's what it is. And let me get through these people first and foremost. Let me get to those people. Actually, I want to walk this way. I'm gonna be by myself. Yeah, this that vintage left side of the brain type shit. When I be by myself, I like doing it like this, old school, first channel style. This is how I like it. Now, it's like everything around you. Now I can talk and be free. It's like everything around you. It is simply y'all see my reflection? Can you see my reflection? Can you see me in the glass? See, everything around you is simply something to get you involved in something other than yourself. Like a relationship, that's simply something to get you involved in something else other than yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's like, it's not about helping you gain any new revelation. You get what I'm saying? Like, imagine, okay, you just go to work every day. You just do the same old stuff. You pick your kids up from school. That's basically what I'm saying. All of that stuff just keeps you from the truth about reality. And every day I come to that same realization. I can't shake this reality drug that I've taken. You know, it's no getting rid of it. This is just reality at its utmost. And I can't shake it for nothing in the world. And this is what it is. I'm gonna just sit right here. It's like The more I grow, the more cemented I become in my revelations. You know, it's the very opposite of the people around me or those who choose to stay asleep. Like the longer you lay down, the deeper your sleep becomes. At first you get into bed, you laying down, before you know it, you're drifting off to sleep. And the last level of sleep is death. And that's where most people are at. They at the state of death, mental death. And like, look at all these people marching before me right now. Thank you, Spirit. A perfect. You about to see a funeral procession. Every day you outside, you seeing people walking around. It's just a funeral procession. Look at this funeral taking place. Let me turn on the funeral music. They all dead. Dun, dun. He was a good old man. Dun, dun, dun. They walking dead. He was a good. Look at him. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, he was a good man. Dun, dun, dun. He was a good old man. Dun, dun, dun. They dead, people. They dead. And look at him dressed in all black. Funeral. Dead. Just dead. Hey, Josh. Josh. Dang, I thought that was my. I thought he looked just like this. No, that ain't him. Yeah. They all dead. And it's sad, people. No, it ain't sad. It ain't sad. It's really a freedom of knowing that you know your situation. It's a freedom knowing that you are alive and everybody else around you is dead. I would rather be in the know than not be in the know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And that allows me to not get caught up in people's emotions and caught up in traps and caught up in relationships, because all of it is just, I mean, it's pointless. I can't stress it enough. We've talked about it over and over and over till it's become redundant, you know? And I don't age. You see, when you got the truth, you don't age. I think I said that before. The truth is the fountain of youth. Because if you dead, you can't receive revelations. And growth is about learning. So as long as I stay like this, I will always learn and adapt. Every day, I'm adapting to my situation. See, living in this human prison bar system, you have to come in terms with the fact that you are presently in prison. That's the number one thing. You can't deceive yourself. You can't fool yourself. You have to accept it. Number two, you have to learn how to accept that you are by yourself. Other than this knowledge, you got to understand that a human prison bar, they can't be your friend. So forget about friends. I've been past that point. You may as well toss it. So forget about friends. Forget about fitting in. Forget about it. I'm an outcast. I have a mental disorder. Go ahead and tell yourself it's true. I'm not a part of them. They're not a part of me. I see them. They see me. The communication is inside of the stare. See, when you stare at a person, they stare back at you. You've already spoken to that person. Because these spirits, they know each other. These spirits are aware of each other. Somebody asked me one time in the comment section, they said, how do spirits, something about how can they tell the future? I thought you said that they don't know. Something how they posed the question. But the reason why, see, spirits know each other. That's why you shouldn't mess with mediums and fortune tellers, because they getting their information from evil spirits. So when they telling you about a certain person did this and this, those spirits are the very ones who did that to that person. They the very ones whispering things in the ears of people. So that's why they have a knowledge about the world, because they the ones that's inside of these people. So when you're talking to these spirits and you go into these mediums and you're reading these tarot cards, it's witchcraft, because you're dealing with evil spirits that possess all of these people that you see. That's what you're dealing with. Like, these people just having children, dropping babies. Why would you get a woman pregnant just to drop a baby into a boiling pot of water? Why would you do that? If you have a baby, you aiding and abetting everything that I'm talking about right now. Why would you do that? And as you see, no one has yet been able to give me a reason why you should, because there is no reason. It's absolutely pointless. So that's why when I talk to people, in my mind, I'm just really talking at them. I'm not talking to them, because if I was really talking to them, I would tell them how much of a piece of rotten shit they really are. So to avoid that, I stay away from these people, because when you start talking to people that's not on your level, two things going to happen. You're going to be faking with them, they're going to be faking with you, or an altercation is bound to break out. There's no other way around that, because oil and water don't mix. And they're going to be taking up your space, and you're going to be in their way. Light and dark can't share the same room. One is going to overpower the other. And I don't like to fake. So instead of faking and doing all of that, I'd rather just step away and become an observer. Like I've said before, become an observer. Just sit back and watch, because all this is a 3D movie. And this is the thing about the human prison bar system. It's set up to captivate your senses. They can't lock your spirit up, but they can captivate your senses in the illusion, and they can captivate your emotions. So really, the human prison bar system is also an emotional system. It gets your emotions involved in it. Because when you think about life, what is life? Life is emotions. That's what separates humans from a mannequin in a shopping window. The mannequin doesn't have emotions, but you as the human being, you have emotions. You see? So that's the separation. So what they do, they want to get your emotions captivated in this artificial world that they have set up. And that's the prison part. But you are kept in prison based upon your ignorance. Remember the live stream? We talked about the law of ignorance. The law of ignorance is what keeps you imprisoned. But once you find out, you free yourself. They can't hold you. The reason why I paused, because the wind started blowing and I felt timeless. Like it felt like I'm not even here right now. Wow, this feels surreal, man. It's like I'm not even here. It's like I'm a spirit. Just I've graduated from this thing, man. Dang. Boy. But yeah, the law of ignorance is what keeps you here. It's like a contract. You see? It's not a written contract. It's like the evil ones know it. You may not know it, but they know it. They know they can't hold you here without your will. That's why the law of ignorance comes into play. They use that because they only hold you back because you don't know. Remember I said in the live stream, if the truth shall set you free, then ignorance or the lie, a lie is the opposite of truth, will keep you in bondage. Remember that. If the truth shall set you free, then a lie, which is the opposite of the truth, will keep you in bondage. So that's where the law of ignorance come in operation. Remember those laws I went over in the live stream? We got the law of dependability, the law of dependence, the law of difference, the law of ignorance, the law of abundance, the natural laws, and it was one more. It was one more that we had discussed in the live stream. But yeah, those are the laws that are used to keep you down in this world. And other than that, they can't control you. See? Like really right now, me being here, I don't have to be here right now at this very location I'm at. I'm choosing to be here. I have a free will. But the thing is, if you don't know that there is something else than what you are taught your whole life, then you're going to believe that how they present it to you is the only way. Which brings something to mind. Kind of off subject, but hey, fuck it. I was thinking today, right? Like I just said, if they present something to you and they don't show you that there is nothing else, you're going to think that's all there is. So you're going to be under ignorance and you're going to be a prisoner of, you're going to be a victim of ignorance. When you could be free, you're not free because you're thinking that this is freedom when it's not. Because they don't present what I'm saying to you. So you caught up in that world of what they teach you, you see, which brings something to mind. And it's like you got 5 senses, right? You got taste, touch, hear, see, and smell, right? Now, imagine if you didn't have a nose, right? You know now that you can smell things because you have a sense of smell because you have a nose, you see? But imagine if you didn't have a nose. Does that mean that smelling doesn't exist? No. It will mean you don't have a nose that can smell, right? Imagine if, like, people who are born blind without eyes, they can't see like you and I, but does that mean that seeing doesn't exist? No, it doesn't. Imagine somebody born deaf. They can't hear the way that you hear, but does that mean hearing doesn't exist? And my final one, imagine if you was born without taste buds. Does that mean food doesn't have a taste because you can't experience it because you don't have taste buds? No, it doesn't. But in your mind and in your world, because that's all you know, to you, if I would ask you that question, you would say, I don't know what taste is, because you don't have the sense to detect what taste is. You see? So applying all of that to this right here. You can't be free, and this is where the law of ignorance come in. If your spiritual eyes can't see, then you can't understand what I'm saying. But you can't say what I'm saying is false just because you can't see it. So as long as you are caught up in the world of their presentation, you will never be able to see it. But then if I come along and give you a set of ears and you hear for the first time, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know this ever existed. Say if you was born without eyes, then all of a sudden miraculously you grew some eyes and you saw for the first time. And then you realize that your whole life you was living in a cage, but you had no concept of a cage because you was blind. You was just feeling around like Helen Keller inside of a cellar somewhere, but you thought it was freedom because inside that cellar, they gave you everything that you could have, that you needed to live. They gave you water, they gave you food, but you didn't realize that you was in a box and that people was outside of that box looking at you like you was in a zoo because you had no concept of a zoo. But say if I give you eyes and then you look around and see people staring at you, you wouldn't know what to make of it at first. Because in your mind, you will be like, why am I? The first thing you would say, at first you will be excited about seeing, being able to see. Then you'll look around and then you will be able to see the actual cell bars that you was only able to feel before you was given eyes, but now you can see it and you're using a different sense. And then you would notice that I'm in this cage like a zoo animal, and you would see people looking at you and staring at you. And then you would realize that something wasn't right, because you'll say to yourself, why am I in this cage? Eventually this will come to your mind. You'll say, why am I in this cage and everybody else is standing outside of the cage looking at me? Okay? Then you would I thought it was about to come up. Give me a second, y'all. This is a commercial break. I can't really talk right now because I got human prison bars in front of me. So I'll use this time for a commercial break. Hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button, donate to the channel. I'm going to leave all of that in the description box below the video. Commercial over. Human prison bars, they walked away. So let's get back to the presentation. So then you'll say to yourself, you'll be like, eventually you'll say, why is all these people looking at me, and why am I in here and they around there, and why they looking at me like I'm so weird? And then they'll notice you looking at them, and then they will react to you looking at them. And then if you waved at them, they'll wave back, and they'll be like, oh, he can see now. Oh, but then once they realize you can see, they will say, he can see now, and now he knows he is in prison. Do y'all get the whole metaphor I was building up? I'm saying all this, everything I just told you, this is a metaphor for how it is for us with spiritual eyes. When your spiritual eyes finally wake up, that's when you first start seeing them for what they are, and then they notice that you see them now. And once they notice that you see them, like in a metaphor I was giving, then it's like a stalemate. What do you do now? And that's where we are at now at this point. Like, what do you do now? Now that your eyes are open, now that you see them, now that you was given a sense, now you've been listening to the Left Side of the Brain channel, now finally you yawning and waking up and you looking around. Now, what do you do? Okay, let's go back to the metaphor. So now You see the people around the cage, they looking at you, and you looking back at them, and you like, damn, what y'all gonna let me out of here or what? Why y'all got me locked in here like this? And when you say that, they just have, like, your words just fall on deaf ears. Just like these people, like, you can talk to them, but your words are just gonna fall on deaf ears. So what do you do at that point? You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna find a way to break out of that cage. You're gonna find a way, but this is where the metaphor, it can't explain that part, because that's still a physical prison. But far as a spiritual prison that we speaking about, what do you do at this point when they see that you notice them, and when they see that you notice them, and you notice that they notice that you notice them? What do you do at that point? When you can tell they notice you, and when they can tell that you notice them, what do you do at that point? That's where you are at right now in your life. And it's only one way to go. And that's following the truth. Continue on the right understanding to heaven. Like, that's the only option, because anything other than that, you going back into that cage when you're trying to fit in. See, and another thing, once you fit out, you never are able to fit back inside of the shell. It's just like a chicken when he hatches from an egg. That chicken, once he grows up, he get feathers. He couldn't fit back in that egg shell if he wanted to. He can never go back in that egg shell. Never. Because he outgrew the eggshell. So he will never be able to go back into that eggshell. Some of you was a spiritual yoke at first. But now you have developed Hey, what's up? Doing good. So now you have developed, and like a chicken, you have feathers now. You got wings now. So now fly away, Jaguar. Fly away. Fly away, Jaguar, because you got what it takes now. You got what it takes now. The choice is yours, like Black Sheep. Who remember that song? You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I bet you get with this, because this is where it's at. On the left side of the brain channel. This is where it's at. But this information is, you take it and you build upon it. You're going to see every law that I went over in that live stream. You're going to see it play out every day in your life. The law of abundance, the law of dependability, the law of difference, or the illusion of difference. All of those things, you're going to see it play out in your life every day. And you're going to say to yourself, the law of dependability, all of those 6 laws that we went over, the law of ignorance, and if there are any more that I'm missing, you're going to see that play out in your life every day. And whenever you're going somewhere, you're going to remember all of these laws that I went over. Those are the 6 laws that they use. You can't teach a dog new tricks. And as far as I'm concerned, these people are dogs. And they don't know no new tricks. They not more intelligent than us, because if they was more intelligent than us, they could come up with new tricks to enslave us, but they can't. They limited. A human prison bar has limited knowledge. The fact is, you have to break the code to break out of it. And once you do that, once you break out of the code, that's it. Like, if you break into a bank's a bank vault, right? You figure the code out. Once you figure it out, that's it. The only way, I mean, what else could they do? Once you figure it out, it ain't gonna form a new code. It's not. It's the same code. That same little turn thing on a bank vault. That's it. That's the only thing it can have. They might change up the numbers a little bit, but they still using the same variation of varying numbers, like the illusion of difference say. But once you figure that out and once you see that, that's it. They limit it to numbers and words. Once you break through their code, that's it. You free from that point. Like myself, I've broken out of the shell. And once you break out of that shell, that's it. Ain't nothing they can do except look at you strange. And so what? That's all they can do. They just look at you strange. I've gotten to the point like, I don't care about a person staring at me. So what? That stare, it just shows me that you defeated, because that's all you can do is stare. So you mean to tell me that I have defeated your system so much that all you left with is a stare? That mean I done took every weapon away from you, every word, because you don't have nothing else to say to me. So the only thing you can do now is stare. Only thing you can do is look at me strange. So what? You looking at me strange because you ain't got nothing to say. You devil, you demon, that's all you can do is stare. How pitiful you've become. Devil, that's all you can do is stare and look at me strange. Think about that. Let that sink in. This is Left Side of the Brain signing out.